Hey, what's up, nerds? It's Paul at Radio Free Hammer Hall. It is Christmas time down in Nurgletown once again. We've got a whole bunch of rumors of things that are going to be in the new upcoming Battletome, which, based on the current pace of things, probably going to get in a couple of weeks, but we don't have any sort of real hard date or even official rumored date. We did just get the announcement that the Darkwater box is going on pre-order next Saturday. So I figured this would be a solid time to start talking about rules for the upcoming Battletome. All right. So just some notes before we get started, before I get yelled at, and of course heading off GW at the pass because I don't ever want to be in trouble with them because they've always been good to me. All of these rumors that I've got in here are unconfirmed. They're from random sources on the internet. I don't know who they came from, what level of validity any of this has. Um, I've seen three or four different sets of rumor things in here. A lot of this is based on one particular one that was just really thorough, which uh, to me makes me think it's probably pretty accurate. It was probably somebody sitting there that had just seen the battle tome and was in a leaking mood. Um, I've noted any contradictions or cases when we have multiple sources reinforcing something. I haven't actually seen any contradictions. Everything seems pretty consistent, or at least like giving us information that is just somewhere else, or you know, a piece of information from one place, a piece of information from another place might be about the same thing, but it doesn't contain overlapping information. And as always, just reinforcing my policy for GW and anyone else that might care. I don't ever share leaks of things from people that I know. So none of my friends are in any danger by me sharing this. This is just, stuff that you can find if you just browse around the internet hard enough. Um, if I'm certainly not going to be out there getting access to information early and leaking it, and I'm not going to be spilling information that my friends under NDAs inappropriately spill to me, which I don't think has ever happened anyway. Maybe like once a long time ago. Um, but with that, let's jump into what the actual rules rumors are looking like. Starting at the top, let's look at the battle traits. Rumor is battle traits are basically staying the same. We're basically keeping disease working pretty much how it currently works, and that being still our pretty much our main battle trait that we have going on. Um, some tweaks to this. We're no longer going to have like the quote unquote bad D3, like the roll a D3 on a 2-up, do mortal wounds equal to the roll. Now it's just going to be a straight D3. And spreading disease, if you're not already in combat with an enemy unit within 7 inches may get a disease on a 4+, similar to how feculent gnarlmaws currently work. But I think it's still going to be limiting us to just one disease per. All of our mortal units, I've seen this from multiple sources. Mortals go to a 6-up ward instead of a 5-up ward. And when you're near a feculent gnarlmaw with mortal units, then they get the 5-up ward. And that's been confirmed across everything that I've seen. Every source that I have seen talking about this that brings up battle traits at all says mortals go to 6-up ward and you get a better ward around the trees. Your feculent gnarlmaws now can move 3 inches, which is interesting. The exact mechanic on how that works, I don't think it's a movement characteristic. I think there's just something that lets them move 3 inches across the board. As far as what the gnarlmaws do, they are no longer going to be spreading disease. If they get destroyed, you can regrow them near objectives that you control. And they are going to be giving us more rally dice to our demon units, which is going to make those plague bearers quite sticky, along with some other rumors that we have coming up. All right. Battle formations. Everything I'm seeing is that our battle formations just get a full rework. Um, a whole bunch of this, by the way, I just kind of cut and pasted out of other sources, and I'm not 100% sure what some of this means. Um, I've seen mention of quote unquote incurable disease in multiple places. I'm not sure what that actually means, though. Um, let's see. Your rot bringers, so your mortals, one of them will give them +5 to control when they're wholly within 12 inches of demon units. One is going to give our companion attacks crit 2 hits. And considering that like your flies are throwing 6 attacks each, that is gonna potentially be a fistful of damage from your companion attacks. Um, I'm not sure what this last one means. Demons can choose to roll 4 on. I don't know. I just kind of copied it. Um, so in general, I think the big thing is that like it looks like Taliban is gone, or at least is going to be doing something completely different. Where yeah, so we're not going to be just getting extra damage out of disease anymore, which is balanced out by your disease not just potentially flubbing a third of the time. So, um, interesting, interesting for sure. Okay, nothing here really standing out to me terribly as being like, oh, this sounds like a really cool thing to build around. Maybe something to do with incurable disease. Like there's a lot of ways to heal disease off of things. So if we make it so you can't do that, that might be better. That might be a good option. Otherwise, like extra uh, companion crits, I think could be good. All right, spell lores. Our spell lore is basically staying the same. The rumor is Fleshy Abundance is just going to go to a 6-up from a 7. And then we're going to have a new spell that disables enemy commands. For prayers, we're going to get a core prayer lore. One of them is going to be an 18-inch range targeting an enemy unit. On a 5-up, it gives -2 to charge. On a 10+, it's -1 die to charge rolls, which is really powerful, especially at 18-inch range. The next one on a 4-up, give a friendly unit wholly within 12 inches. Ignore the first damage per phase. That's very powerful. Very annoying if you've played against it in like Seraphon or anything like that before. And then the last one, it's either on a 3 or 4. And the chanter gets -1 to be wounded, and on a 10+, every unit in combat is diseased or is -1 to wound, and there's apparently multiple sources on that one. Okay. Enhancements. It looks like we're getting a rework on our enhancements, which, like, thank God, because some of these were truly awful. The Rustfang in a new iteration can give -1 to save for the rest of the turn to an enemy hero or monster, and it's once per turn instead of once per game, which I think is a lot better. Effect only lasts till the end of the turn, but you can just keep re-upping it every turn. I like that. The Wither Stave now is, instead of fights last, it's -1 to damage. Then the Carrion Dirge, once per game, pick up to 3 enemy units and give -5 control until your next hero phase. There is actually a lot I've seen in this, by the way, that is manipulating control scores, which is very interesting. Like that could be, I've been waiting to have an army in Age of Sigmar where manipulating control is like their thing, and it might actually be Nurgle now. All right, heroic traits, grandfather's blessing. It was, the hero heals D3 at the end of the turn if they're in, or I'm sorry, D6 if they're in combat with an enemy unit that's diseased at the end of the turn. Now it's just getting reduced to D3, which is weird because I mean I personally really liked it, but it wasn't like overpowered that it needed to be brought in. It wasn't like the hot pick from what I could tell. Overpowering Stench gets a big rework. Um, you're rolling off with your opponent with control score as a modifier, and if the result is higher than the opponent's, you pick one of two effects. Ignore positive modifiers to save rolls for the rest of the turn, or subtract one from war rolls for the rest of the turn. And then the Gift of Verbal Frenzy, once per turn in any combat phase, pick a visible non-hero wholly within 12 inches on a 2-up. On a D3, you add +1 attack for melee weapons. That's a lot of text. I feel like 2-up on a D3 makes me think that that's not what that actually is, because that's not how they would be wording that. All right, let's get into War Scrolls. Rodigus getting a new spell that has 18-inch range and does 1 damage to all enemies within range, and heals 1 to all friendlies in range. And it prevents enemy units within range from healing or returning models. Festus, 14 health, 4-up save, Wizard 2, doing another roll-off thing. Can deal mortal wounds to enemy monsters, can kill a cav model or do D3, or destroy D3 enemy infantry. And he can add to his objective control by killing models. I'm not sure what some of this means. Horticulus Slimex now can spawn only up to 2 trees instead of 3, and can teleport trees to himself, so he can kind of move trees around. Looks like the Poxbringer Herald is going to have one of those standard chain activation things with Plague Bearers, giving them +1 attack. The Glotkin gets some changes to his abilities, but other things are staying the same for the most part. Horrific Opponent apparently becoming better. His spell will be the same, but gives out disease. And then he has a Rampage that lets you pick an enemy hero or monster on a 4+. It can't move, and add 1 to hit rolls for attacks against them. Blowbrot Spawn loses his -1 to hit ability, which is fine because I always forget that that exists. The Great Unclean One, his ability to return Plague Bearers now costs a CP. It wasn't clear if that is going to be in place of a roll. If it's in place of rolling, I like that a lot better. All right, Belga the Cis Witch. She's going to be a priest. She has a prayer that lets you do D3 mortals to a visible unit that is diseased, and 1 mortal to every diseased unit that's in combat with it. On a 9+, you can select a Plague Bearer unit within 12 and return models equal to the amount of models slain. So that sounds like that wording is off. Return models equal to the amount of models slain. Maybe up to the number of models that have been slain, something like that. She can also, I've seen from multiple sources that she gives out +1 to cast and +1 to chant to friendlies within 12. All right. Harbinger of Decay loses his Knell of Doom, but nobody cares. Gains an ability where you're rolling against control, and you get +1 if your Slaven Knights are nearby, and a success gives out -1 to wound until your next hero phase. Gelgus Pust. He is a Nurgle Demon Prince that does Nurgle Demon Prince things. Something about infecting terrain. I don't know what that means. He can debuff enemies. Um, Lord of Plagues is doing the chain attack +1 attack thing for Rot Swords. Blight, Lord of Blights is, I think, doing a chain attack thing with Blight Kings, but for ignoring Rend. The Foulhoof Shaman is a wizard that can reduce enemy Rend by 1. Blight Kings go to a 5-up save and a 6-up ward with weapons that are anti-wizard and priest and increased enemy chances to miscast or mischant. So basically, it looks like Blight Kings are just completely different, and um, they're going from being like this heavy tank unit to being a weird tech piece that might not see a lot of play from kind of what I'm looking at. Rot Swords basically look like they're going to be Nurgle Chaos Warriors. They have an ability to stop enemy commands on a 3-up. Base is 2 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, Ren 1 damage, crit 2 hits. So very similar to Chaos Warriors. They can get buffs to improve their rend, and then they can get that extra attack from doing the chain activation with the Lord of Plagues. Whew, we are getting there. Okay, Pestigore, similar to Plague Bearers, they're going to have a chain activation +1 attack thing from the Foulhoof Shaman. Then they can get extra rend somehow. Slaven Knights, multiple sources confirming on this one. 3 health each, 3-up save, 7-inch move, 3 attacks, 3's rend 2, 3 damage on the charge, and they give out strike last on the 3-up. That's very strong. That's like Nurgle Varengard, basically, or at least close to. Pescoil Blight Lords, they're saying, are going to be the same. Plague Bearers will be the same, except they're -1 to be hit when they are on objectives, which that could be really good. That could make Plague Bearers like actually useful again. Drones and beasts are going to be unchanged. Your Pox Wretches can give out extra disease in combat that is like separate from the normal disease spreading. The Cankerborn can teleport between objectives you control. And Blow Broadspawn, Sloppity Bile Piper, and Spoil Pox Scrivener, quote unquote, lose their utility. I don't know what that means. So yeah, demons seem like they may have a generally diminished role. We're going to have a lot of new tech that looks really good. I think the Blight Kings are going to have a really different role than what we currently have, and their old role seems like it's kind of getting replaced by Rot Swords. And our feculent gnarlmaws might actually matter again, which is kind of cool. They're probably going to be killed and regrown a whole lot of times based on what we're seeing here. So that's about it. I don't really have much more detail on any of these rumors right now, but I thought I would share what I have seen. If you have thoughts, questions, comments, as always, leave them below. And I'll talk to you all later.